Hi, I'm Ramsey Bergeron. Thank you for joining me today. And today I want to talk about something that will impact every element of your life, which is goal setting. And I want to specifically address the top 5 questions to ask yourself if your goals aren't working. And I'm not understating that this is the most important skill you can have is goal setting, because it doesn't just affect what you do, it affects every element of your life and the legacy you leave behind and who you are. It determines how you're living your life. It determines the day to day. It determines your motivations. It determines what you're aiming for. And I guess to start off by saying that if you're not setting active goals in your life, then you're just on autopilot. And then are you even living? I guess it's a quote from Braveheart, I think, or maybe it's even from Marcus Aurelius, where every man dies, few men truly live. And goal setting is that ability to say, this is the legacy I want to leave behind. This is what I want to do with my life. This is what I want to use to grow. And these are the things I want to aim for. So if you want to stop going through the motions and leave a legacy behind, because I've said this before, you're going to leave a legacy no matter what. And are you leaving your legacy by design or by default? So top 5 questions to ask yourself if your goals aren't working. The first one, are these goals or obligations? And this is a very important distinction here, because sometimes we think that we're goal setting, but really we're just fulfilling obligations. And a good way to start looking at the difference between the two is goals are generally driven by intrinsic or internal factors. What are my values? It's my personal growth. It's what motivates me to excel. Where an obligation, it's generally expectations from the outside. Sometimes it can be cultural. Sometimes it's family traditions. It's just something that I feel I have to do. And whenever I'm working with clients and I start hearing language like I have to do this, I need to do this, either it's an obligation or it's a goal that they haven't really connected with intrinsically. It's a goal that they've forced upon themselves. So understanding I guess the first question, is this a goal or an obligation? The second question to ask yourself if your goals aren't working is, am I wanting to grow or am I really just avoiding something else? So when I'm setting a goal, sometimes, and I see this sometimes with my clients who tend to be workaholics or go into the office, they want to be there 12 hours a day. And it's not as much as they want to be there 12 hours a day, as much as it is they don't want to be at home. So asking yourself, am I moving towards this or am I moving away from something else? In my book that's going to be coming out hopefully later this year, it's called Chasing the Rabbit, Why Achieving Success Is Never Enough. And I have a chapter talking about, are you chasing the rabbit or are you running from the bear? In other words, am I moving towards a goal or is this goal a goal of avoidance? And slowing down and really just getting clear about what's the intent and is this in line, is the goal in line with my values? That's a sub question. It's not one of the top 5, but just really seeing, am I moving towards something or away from something else? The third question is a really important one if you're wanting to grow. And are the goals I'm setting challenging enough? I've said that if you set mediocre goals, you're going to live a mediocre life. I'll say it again. If you set mediocre goals, you're going to live a mediocre life. And part of the Living with Purpose class that I'm starting to teach, next week, is helping people find goals that are adequately challenging. So for me this year, I think I might have talked about this before, I wanted to push myself physically and have some goals. And I've created a system called BFG goals. So B is basic. So for me, a basic goal this year would have been go to the gym 5 days a week and get my body fat down to 10%. That would have been a basic goal. All right, I don't really have to push real hard to get that done. F would have been a fantastic goal. And the fantastic goal would have been going to do the half Ironman at Lake Tahoe with my friends Aaron and Scott. That would have pushed me a little bit more, but I still know I'm capable of that. I've done half Ironmans. I've done full Ironmans. And so G is the gigantic goal. And for me, that was, I've never done an ultra swim. The furthest I've swam is 2.4 miles. Let's sign up for this 12.5 mile swim. And I did. I signed up for that, and I managed to finish it. So, and it's not, it doesn't just have to be a physical goal. It can be a goal with learning, with finances, with relationships, just goals that challenge you to push beyond what won't even really challenge you. So if you're setting mediocre goals in your life, you're going to have a mediocre life. What are you really doing to challenge yourself? And the fourth question to ask yourself kind of ties in with the third. And it's, who do I have to be day to day in order to achieve this goal? Because it's not the goal that changes you. It's who you have to become on that journey towards it that changes you, that causes the growth. There's nothing magical about just crossing a finish line. The reason that people cry once they finish an Ironman or a marathon is they know what it took to get there. And that's what any meaningful goal in your life, you have to go through the hero's journey. It's called the hero's journey for a reason. It's not the hero's destination. And if you're watching Star Wars, like Luke Skywalker, he goes from just being this whiny kid to like watch the beginning of Episode 4, A New Hope, and then the end of Return of the Jedi, and you see that transformation that occurs. That's what the goal is for, is to help you grow. So ask yourself, who do I have to be day to day in order to achieve this? Who is this going to make me become? And that's the lesson. That's what the growth opportunity is for you. If the goal doesn't challenge you, the journey is not going to change you. So make sure that day in and day out, who is this person that you have to be able to do that. For me, for the swim, all right, I needed to start swimming several times a week. And for whatever your goal is, like for me to be a speaker, to be a coach, I knew that I needed to go to school, study for that. I had some personal training clients of mine that I was like, hey, I want to practice with you. And so I was practicing coaching people and even with the speaking, just signing up and speaking for free to get started off, just to get the skills under my belt. Like, what are you having to do to achieve the goals day to day? The kind of with that, because if you're wanting to learn and grow, the fifth question is, what do I need to let go of in order to achieve this goal? And this kind of breaks down into two categories. And the first one are habits. So what habits do you need to let go of to achieve this goal? How many of you are staying up way too late? Sleeping in, like not getting your day started right? Are you going to have to give up late nights? You have to give up drinking. You have to give up, if your goal is to save money, do you have to stop buying useless crap? Do you need to have your HBO and Showtime and Disney Plus and Apple TV and Prime and all of those video services? Do you really need that? If you're trying to save money, it's a matter of just prioritization. What's in line with your values? What friendships might you need to give up? And this is a hard one. What relationships might you need to give up? If you're wanting to grow as a person, who are you surrounding yourself with? Are you surrounding yourself with people who want to grow? Are you surrounding yourself with people who force you to be a better version of yourself, who force you to evolve and to be a better person in the pursuit of those goals? The other things you might need to give up are limiting beliefs. I'm not that kind of person. I could never do a triathlon. Well, do you even know what a sprint triathlon looks like? I got into sprint triathlons back in 2007 or 8 to spite a girl. I was dating a girl. She was a triathlete, and she thought, "Oh, I'm a triathlete." And then I saw what a sprint triathlon was, and I'm like, "What is this? An 800-meter swim, a 10-mile bike ride, and then a 5K run? I think I can do this." And I had this limiting belief of like, "Oh my gosh, a triathlon. I could never do a triathlon." And then when I slowed down and looked at what it really entailed, I'm like, maybe I can. So these limiting beliefs that tell us we can't. I'm like, I'm not an ultra swimmer. There's no way I can swim 12 and a half miles. I'm not an author. I can't write a book. Well, you're not an author until you write a book. So what limiting beliefs do you need to give up in order to achieve these goals? And if the goal isn't meaningful, if it's just a basic mediocre goal and you're not having to give a lot up, then that's comfort. You're playing it safe. Like, well, I know I can do this. If you know you can do it, then that's why this goal isn't fulfilling for you. Because either you've done it before, or it's not really going to require you to sacrifice anything to attain it, and you're not going to grow. And part of this last one can be challenging because our identity sometimes lies in these walls that we've built up around us that we think are protecting us, but it's really a prison that we've put ourselves in. That's not who I am this person. And that can go back even to the first one of obligations. Like we think like our family traditions have us thinking that this is the lifestyle we have to live, or this is where we need to be. I can't move away from home. My whole family lives here. Well, what if you could move away from home? Because if you're an adult, you can. You know, I had a big epiphany happen to me whenever I was doing that 10-day meditation course a couple of years ago. And that's a word just came into my mind. And that word was permission. I just needed permission. And just permission to myself, to give myself permission. I was living like I was still a kid at my mom's house. And I was so scared of how I would be judged if I did something or didn't do something. And as an adult, it's like, well, what the hell do I want to do? What do I want to do with my life? And it's one of those things that when I work with people and I can hear it in their voice, the whole like, well, I'd love to do this, but I can't. So, well, why can't you? Well, you know, I don't know if my parents would approve of me doing it. Well, you're a grown ass man or a grown ass woman. Well, are you living for them or are you living for you? So again, these are the top 5 questions that if your goals aren't fulfilling, ask yourself, are these goals or are they obligations? Am I wanting to grow? Is this really a goal or am I avoiding something else? Is this goal challenging enough for me? Who do I have to be day to day in order to achieve this goal? And then what do I need to let go of in order to achieve this goal? This is one of the cornerstones of the class I'm launching next week. And if you need help with your goals, if you're like, this is great in theory, Ramsey, how do I put this into practice? I don't know how to do this. I need help. Well, luckily I have a 90-day journey called Living with Purpose. And it starts on the 13th of July. And it's an incredible 90-day program. Because right now, if what you're doing is not working and you want more out of your life, then spend 90 days and find out who you are. Spend 90 days to see where you are, where do you want to be, and let's develop a plan together to get you there. If you do want to sign up, it's bergeronwellbeing.com/purpose. I've already got 3 people signed up. I'm going to cap it out at 10 because I really want a small group feel. And it will change your life. If you don't find results in it, I'll give you your money back. So I really hope that these 5 tips of how to, the top 5 questions to ask yourself help you, and would love to see you in class on the 13th. Thank you so much for listening today.